Woohoo! Oh my goodness! What's going on? Who is ready for day 2 of the Design Your Dream Business 3-day workshop? Oh yeah! Oh my goodness. I am so excited about today. So, welcome. Hopefully I am live. Hopefully you can see me. I am going to quickly check on my laptop to make sure that I am indeed live. And if you are watching, if you could let me know in the comments if you can see me, if you can hear me okay, if the sound sounds good. And we will get started. Feeling really pumped. Hey, is it Malu? Malu? Beautiful name. Hey, Jennifer. Howdy. So I'm assuming if you can comment that you can indeed see me. Hopefully I sound okay. Let me know if I don't. But yes, I'm very excited to jump right on in. I hope that you found day 1 yesterday helpful. I hope that you had some time maybe to kind of look over those action steps, because we got more of those coming today in day 2. And of course we got day 3 tomorrow, and it's going to be good. So what is up, Shannon? Cape Town from Brazil. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I love knowing where everyone's from. I think that's so cool. Like, it's still we kind of take it for granted, but when you think about it, like, the internet is just amazing. Like, being able to connect with you all from you're all over the world is just like, and we can all be here together, and you can see me and we can talk. Like, what the heck? That is so cool. Like, it's just the coolest thing. And I can remember back to, like, I was born in the 80s, and I'm like, we didn't have that back then. Like, to think there was a time where that didn't exist is like kind of weird. And now, you know, of course, the people who were born in, like, it's so weird to me as someone who's born in the 80s, thinking about people who were born at like year 2000 and beyond. That is just like mind-blowing to me, because they don't remember a time where there wasn't the internet like this. It's just like, so anyway, little side rant. Okay, so we are going to hop right on into today's training. So make sure you have, of course, your favorite beverage. Make sure you have a note-taking device. Writing helps to reinforce that learning. I know for me, it just really helps me sort of solidify everything. And we are going to dive right on in. So if you could let me know if you can see my slides here in a second, that would be great. All right. So you should be able to see my slides. If someone in the chat could let me know. Yeah, Caitlin, it's absolutely wild. Oh my gosh, since 2016. Aw, thank you. That is so incredible. I'm honored that you have been along for the journey. Holy crap, that was 5 years ago. I'm also continually boggled by how, like, fast time goes. Like, okay, oh, you see them? Perfect. Okay, great. Just a little side note before we go in. Speaking of, like, time flying, does anyone else remember, like, back in the, like, 80s, for example, or even, like, early 90s, how in movies, when they would talk about the future and they would basically paint the picture of, like, 2020 being a time where it was so futuristic, there would be, like, flying cars and, like, hoverboards and things like that. Like, does anyone else, like, remember that? And it's like, now here we are, and it pretty much is the same. But it's like in all those earlier movies, it's like the 2020, we're gonna be flying cars. It was basically like the Jetsons. Not quite. Okay. Going back on the topic, we're not here to talk about time or the future. Well, kind of the future, because your business is going to be in the future of your life, hopefully. But welcome back to day 2 of Design Your Dream Business. So here's what we covered yesterday in day 1. We first talked about mindset, so that you can be the leader that your business will require for true growth, profitability, and lasting success. We talked about some key mindset shifts and perspectives that are going to be really important and beneficial to you as the business owner. And we also talked about a process for how you can begin to manifest your dream business by getting clear on what does your business look like, be it 6 months from now, be it 12 months from now. What are you feeling? What kind of getting you into the place of it has happened, it is done. Now, what did you do? What are you feeling? What were the steps that you took? What did you let go of? And how those are the things that you need to start doing today, because that is the fastest way to bridge the gap from where you are right now to where you want to be. A lot of times people make these sort of mistake that doesn't really serve them, and then they're constantly stuck in this place of, they're at point A, they want to get to point B, and they'll say things like, oh, when I'm at point B, then I will feel, successful. When I'm at point B, then I will feel confident. When I'm at point B, then I'll start doing this thing for my business. When I'm at point B, then I'll let go of doing all of this other busy work. And it needs to be the other way around. You need to get clear on what point B looks like, and you need to start doing those things, feeling those things, letting go of those things right now. When it comes to manifestation, you cannot attract what you do not already have, meaning you have got to be aligned energetically in your beliefs, your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions with whatever you want to manifest right now in order to manifest those things. So we talked about that yesterday. We also talked about how to get clarity on your niche for your business, your expert topic, the thing that all of your content is going to focus on, what you're going to be known for. This is really important when it comes to effective marketing, when it comes to making sales a lot more easy. It's also very important for you as the business owner for clarity and focus when it comes to your content, both free and paid. We talked about subtopics, and then we also talked about how to turn your gift into a profitable product. So we began to talk about how you could come up with a product idea for your business, and this could be any type of product, membership, it could be a course, a workshop, coaching program, whatever, but how to come up with an idea that feels aligned to you and that could also be irresistible to your audience. So that was yesterday. Now today and tomorrow, we're going to talk about how to get clear on your pricing and turn selling into serving. We're going to talk about how to create magnetic messaging so that you can effortlessly attract your dream clients and make marketing so much easier. And then tomorrow is the day where we're really going to talk about the streamlined systems and processes that your business needs so that you can scale your online business without sacrificing your time and sanity. So it's kind of the day where we're going to be putting everything together, all of the pieces, so that you can see how everything works to form your business machine. So let's do this. As a little reminder, kind of a visual overview, because I'm a very visual person. Your expert topic, we talked about this. This is like the bird's eye view of your online business, because I want to show you how simple it is. Your expert topic, your niche, your paid product. All you need for a profitable business is one product. Just want to keep that out there. Yes, you can have more things, but you only need one. You can have a profitable business with only one. From there, your pricing and your messaging. This is how you communicate. Hey, this is what I have. Here's what it's going to do for you, how you can get it, and then some systems and processes in place for running your business. So this is a bird's eye view of what we're talking about in this 3-day workshop, because I want you to know how simple that it can be, because if you've been in the online space for a while, you probably have maybe had a time where you felt overwhelmed with all the things, or maybe that's you right now feeling like you need to do all the things. And as I said yesterday, I know people have multiple 6-figure businesses that don't even have a website. So we really want to keep things simple. So let's talk about turning selling into serving, because when you made the decision to be a badass entrepreneur and start your own business, you also made the decision to be in sales because business is all about selling. It's about selling what you have to your audience. It's inevitable. It's how you get customers. Business needs customers in order to be a business. So what I would love for you to do, those of you who are watching right now live, or even if you're watching the replay, I still want you to do this because I'll be able to see it later in the comments. What I want you to do right now in the comments is write down, put down on a scale of 1 to 10, How comfortable are you right now with telling people about your paid stuff and selling? One being like super uncomfortable. It's just like, it's like unbearable. Maybe you haven't even done it yet because the fear around selling is so great. And 10 is being super comfortable. It's like second nature, doesn't bother you at all. In fact, you might even love selling. You're like, yes, I want to tell people about my stuff. So in the comments, I want to see those numbers. 1 being very uncomfortable with selling, 10 being extremely comfortable with selling. I want to see where you all are at right now. Caitlin Jones, 6 or 7. Okay, that's really good. Jennifer Locks, awesome, 6. Okay, this is good, good, good. So we want to get you up to ultimately like a 10. Oh, nice, 7. You used to be a 1, but using EFT helped me get to an 8. Awesome. Okay, this is great, you guys. This is great. I personally used to be a 1. I think many people do start at 1. I have shared the story about maybe a 2 or 3. That's perfectly okay. We're going to hopefully get that number up, start that process today. But I have told the story before how when I was 18, the day I turned 18, I had a friend of the family who did Mary Kay. And that was the year I went off to college. And so she was like, hey, because at the time I really liked like makeup and like doing makeovers. She was like, hey, I will pay for you to be a Mary Kay consultant. I'll get your starter kit, blah, blah, blah. You can be the guru on campus and sell all this makeup. And I was like, ooh, because I've always had an entrepreneurial spark in me. I've always loved like starting little businesses and things like that. I was definitely the kid on the side of the road when I was like 8 years old trying to sell handmade bracelets. So I was like, okay, cool. And I remember I was a Mary Kay consultant for like a year or 2, and I had all the things. I hosted all the parties. And guess how many sales I made during that time? Just take a wild guess. I made 0 sales. And why did I make 0 sales? Well, my friends, it's because I never even asked for a sale. I was so uncomfortable with selling that at the end of all my parties, where it's that time to be like, now what can I get everyone? What would you like to order? I couldn't even say that because that's how uncomfortable I was. So I didn't even make any. So I used to be a 1, and that's what we're going to talk about today because it will absolutely affect your business. When you are uncomfortable with selling, it shows up when you are selling. People can tell. Have you ever been on a webinar or a workshop or whatever, or maybe a call where you're talking with someone, and when it gets to the point where they're like asking you, if you want to work with them or whatever, if you want to buy their thing, you can feel the energy shift where maybe they were like really confident and comfortable, and all of a sudden they're like, clamming up, maybe apologizing, having to ask you, feeling really uncomfortable. And so you don't want to do that with your audience. You want to get to a place where everyone feels comfortable, where you are confident, where the energy is flowing. So the other thing I would like you to do is I would like you to finish in the comments below the sentence of selling is blank. So what is the first word that comes to your mind? When you think of selling and making sales, selling is blank. So like for me, a long time, my sentence was selling is sleazy or selling is hard. So what is the first word that comes to mind? I would absolutely love you to share this in the comments because selling is scary, amazing. Oh my gosh, yes, that was also one of mine. Selling is scary. So this is off the bat. When you finish this sentence, it's going to help you begin to identify the stories that you have around selling, which is preventing you from showing up and sharing in your business. So definitely keep sharing those below because I am going to read through them and I want to know your initial thoughts. But ultimately, selling is actually a tool. So, selling is not a thing that is inherently good or bad. It is just how the person uses the tool, right? So it's like a knife. You could have a knife, which is a tool. It's a kitchen kitchen, not appliance kitchen. What's the word I'm looking for? Accessory? No, I don't know. You get the idea. A kitchen knife, right? It's a neutral kitchen knife. Well, one person could use that kitchen knife to quite literally take someone else's life in a very bad way by stabbing the person, or another person could take that exact same kitchen knife and create the most delicious, amazing meal for their loved one. So it's not about the tool, it's about how the person uses the tool. So selling is neither good nor bad, it's just a tool. And it's the person behind it that can make it pushy, aggressive, sleazy. If the person behind the tool, the person doing the selling, is being pushy, aggressive, and sleazy. So it's not that selling is manipulative or bad. It's that the person behind it can be manipulative and quote unquote bad. And actually, while we're on the topic, just a little side note, it's the same thing with money. Right? A lot of us have heard like money is the root of all evil and only greedy people have money, or if you want lots of money, you're greedy, or if you have lots of money, you're greedy, or, all of these sort of limiting negative beliefs around money, when actually money is just like selling. Money is a neutral resource. It is neither good nor bad. It's the person who has the money and how they use it. If they are a not so great person, they're going to use the money in not so great ways. But on the other end of the coin, if someone is an amazing person, great people with great money can do great things. And so selling and money are both neutral. And so if you haven't already done this, I would encourage you to replace the word selling with serving, because that is what it is. People have problems. They have pain points that they are ready and willing to pay for in order to get solved. They need and want your help. I know that when I first started my business and I had no idea what I was doing, I was in a lot of quote unquote pain. Like I was confused, I was frazzled, I was overwhelmed, I was stressed out. And you better believe that I was willing to pay to get help. And I did. I invested in educational programs. I invested in different things for my business. Why? Because I had all these pains and I didn't want to deal with them by myself. I was like, yo, I will happily hand you this money for you to just tell me what to do, for you to save me all this time, for you to show me which resources I need. Or like if I had, like last year, I had this skin thing happening where I was getting all of these really weird bites and they were super itchy and awful. And you better believe I was more than happy to drive my butt down to the drugstore to pay for some cream. I was more than happy to go to the dermatologist to pay for whatever I needed to get this thing fixed. And so when you are selling, you are serving, because there are people, they need your help. They are ready, they are willing, they want to pay. Think of a time like in these examples I'm giving you where you had something, you had a pain point, and you were more than happy to pay whatever it was to get that taken care of. And also, and this is a very important thing to consider, is that the transformation begins with the transaction. It begins with the money exchange, because when people don't pay, they don't pay attention. Think of how many times probably you grabbed a freebie from someone's website and you never even looked at it because for whatever reason, it just fell to the bottom of your list because you didn't pay for it, right? You're like, I can look at that later. I'll do that later. And you never did. When there is no skin in the game, people don't show up. Take this workshop, for example, and I'm in no way trying to make anyone feel bad or shame anyone, but this is just a great example. This is a free 3-day business workshop. And out of the people who registered, only a small percentage actually joined the Facebook group. And out of the people who joined the Facebook group, an even smaller percentage are actually going to watch the workshop. Why? Because they didn't pay for it. So it's, other things can come up. Oh, I don't have time, but it's okay. It's free. I'm not losing anything. But the reality is that they are missing on some information that can really transform their business. They can get a transformation out of this workshop. They can get information that's really going to help them if they implement it and put it into practice. But they're not going to get that transformation because they didn't pay for it. they had no skin in the game. And so it fell to the bottom of the list. And that is what happens with so many. I know I've done it before. I've signed up for trainings that were free. I didn't show up. And guess what? I missed out on stuff that was probably really valuable that I really needed, but I didn't put it as a priority because I didn't pay for it. And investing money shows more commitment, right? So think about, like, if you were to have the opportunity to get this amazing program, let's say there's an amazing program and you have the option to get it for free, or you have the option to get it for $2,000. Well, which option do you think is going to make you more likely to show up and actually implement and do all the things with that program? If you get it for free, or if you pay $2,000? Like, I know which one I would choose. Pay $2,000. If I'm going to pay money for something, especially good money for something, you better bet your butt I am going to show up and do it. I remember a few years ago, when I hired my first business coach, James Wedmore, I paid more money than I have ever paid in my entire life for anything. Biggest investment by far. But guess what? That investment that I made, oh, you better believe I showed up. I was on every coaching call. I did every single thing he told me to do. I went all in. And consequently, I had life-changing results, literally life-changing, business-changing results, because I showed up, because I made that commitment. And so I want you to really remember that you are doing the people in your audience a favor by having them invest in that transaction with you. And another great way to get over your fear of selling is to make your mission, your purpose, way bigger than your fears. And that's something we kind of talked about yesterday, was kind of getting clear on your purpose, your mission. So what is your mission, right? And when you shine the light on your mission and the impact that you want to have and how you can help people, you need to make that so big and so compelling that it overrides your fears of being judged, which, by the way, no matter what you do, no matter what you don't do, no matter how you act, you're always going to be judged. We are just judgmental humans. It's just human nature. Like, you're judging me right now, I'm sure, and that's fine because that's just natural. Like, you're always going to be judged, right? So you got to make your mission, your why, the ripple effect of how you're going to help people bigger than your fear of getting rejection or fear of whatever it is that you're fearing. Woo, can't talk. I'm getting so worked up. So, like, anytime that I'm afraid, and I'm always got, I always have fears popping up, but anytime I'm afraid to do something, like if, oh man, like I'm afraid to put this offer out there. For example, I recently launched a manifestation membership a couple months ago, and I had so many fears around that. Oh my gosh, all these stories like, who am I to do this? Oh, I'm not good enough. I'm not ready. What if people don't like it? What if it fails? Blah, blah, blah. Name every fear. I had it. And the way that I got over that and did it anyway, launched the membership anyway, despite those fears, is I thought about the people who I could help. And I really put all of my attention on the person and how I could help them and how that would change their life and how all the benefits that they would experience. And then I started thinking about the ripple effect. Well, if I helped this one person and I helped them, start manifesting the things that they want in their life, more money, inner peace, all of these things, how would that affect their family? And how would that affecting their family affect their friends? And I started thinking about, oh my gosh, like the positive ripple effect, this is going to be amazing. I have no choice. I have to put this out. No matter if I'm scared or not. And so this is a beautiful way to get over your fear, is to make sure you know your why, make sure you know your mission, and make sure it is powerful and big enough to override all else. Feel the fear and do it anyway, because you're almost always going to have fear. It's always going to pop up like a little, I'm trying to think of like a little monster, but it's going to be like a little monster in the corner that's always going to poke its head out anytime you want to try something new or do something. So just got to do it anyway. And then lastly, when it comes to selling, just remember that rejection means nothing about you. You're going to get no's. You're going to get people who aren't ready. You're going to get people who are not going to resonate with you. It doesn't mean anything about you. It's just a part of being in business. We tend to take a lot of things personal as personal brands, like, oh my gosh, if someone turns me down, it means like they don't like me, whatever. It doesn't mean anything about you. It's just business. And so rejection means nothing about you. It's always about the other person. Maybe they're just not ready. Maybe they don't have the funds right now. Maybe they just don't resonate with your style and they resonate with someone else. So you just cannot take it personally. And we tend to superimpose our limiting beliefs onto our audience when it comes to selling. So this is a big thing for me. I used to feel really bad about selling because I believed I had limiting beliefs around money. And one of them was that money is really hard to come by. And so when I sold, when I would, put my offer out to my audience, I felt really bad because I was like, well, money's hard to come by. And I'm basically, I feel like I'm stealing from them. And I just assumed, I superimposed that limiting belief onto my audience that, well, they must believe money is hard to come by as well. And that's very frequently not the case. And so you want to be careful and begin to identify your limiting beliefs around money. What are you telling yourself about money? And are you putting that onto your audience? Because you want to be really careful about that. Those are yours. They're not necessarily theirs. So with that in mind, let's talk about pricing. So I want to say this, price is relative. So when it comes to pricing, whatever you sell in your business, remember that pricing is relative and things like too expensive is a belief. So for one person, $100 might be extremely expensive, and to someone else, it could be a bargain. So it's all relative to the person. It's just a belief. And the absolute worst question that you can ask when coming up with the prices for your offers is, how much would people be willing to pay for X? I cringe so hard because I see this. I don't go into a lot of business Facebook groups anymore, but I did a few years ago, and I actually ran one myself. And I would see this question pop up all the time, and I would cringe so hard because inevitably they would come in and they would kind of describe, like, for example, their program, and they'd be like, how much would you all be willing to pay for blank? And of course, people are, listing out the lowest amounts possible. And so everyone is kind of all over the board, but you're getting these really low marks. And when you do that, when you ask people that question, people are always going to want to pay as little as possible. If I were to offer you a program for $2,000 or $200, which one would you take? You'd probably choose the $200. So when you ask that question, you're kind of biting yourself in the butt because people are always going to want to pay as little as possible. And when you do this is going to result in pricing wars. This is kind of like Walmart, they're always trying to have the lowest price, compete with the lowest price, and it also attracts a lower quality customer. And so this is not how you want to go about pricing your products. And again, everything we're talking about in this workshop can apply to you if you already have a business, and it can also, of course, apply to you if you're in the planning stages of your business. So whether you're currently in the beginning stages of launching your business or you already have one, everything we're teaching over these 3 days, and by we, I mean me, myself, and I, apparently I have multiple personalities, which I kind of do, but anyway, everything can be applied. So I want you to be keeping this in mind if you already have things that you have priced. So here are 4 simple steps to pricing any of your offers. It's really super easy. Step number 1, identify your revenue goal for a launch or a promotion. So when you are putting out your thing, whatever that is, it may be a membership, a course, a program, group coaching, a mastermind, digital downloads, whatever the heck you're selling. There's probably if you're putting it out there, you're doing some type of launch or promotion. So step number 1 is simply identify the revenue goal. So for this example, let's say your revenue goal for your promotion in the month of July is $10,000. So step number 2, once you've identified your revenue goal, is to identify at least 3 ways where you could make this happen. So for example, you could price it at $1,000 and you would need to sell 10. So 10 times 1,000 is 10,000. Or you could price it at $200 and you would need to sell 50. Or you could price it at $5,000 and you would only need to sell 2. And so there's a million different ways that you could hit that revenue goal of $10,000. So you want to just write down at least 3, but I would encourage you to do more. And then step number 3 to get clear on your pricing is to look at all the different options you wrote down and pick the one that feels the best. Yes. It is really that simple. Pick the one that feels the best. So for some, having a high ticket $5,000 offer might feel great. It might feel like a no-brainer. You feel totally confident in that. Great. $5,000. You only need to sell 2 of those to hit your revenue goal. But maybe you're looking at it and you're like, I don't know, like $5,000, like, I'm feeling really uncomfortable with that. Great. Go with 1,000 and you'll need to sell 10, right? So you get the idea. Pick the one that feels the best to you. You can always raise your prices later. In fact, raising your prices is a great incentive to do a promotion because price increases really get people to move their butts. But ultimately, start with the one that feels the best to you. And then lastly, number 4, and this one is really, 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 really important. You've got to ask yourself, what would I need to provide to show that this is worth 10 times what I'm planning to charge? This is how you make anything you're selling at whatever price point seem like an absolute no-brainer. So you need to brainstorm, what can I offer to show that this is worth 10 times the amount? And this is something that you need to have on your sales page, in your copy, in your emails. You need to be showing people like, yo, everything that's included, what I'm offering is worth 10 times more, and here's the price that you're getting it for. And then people are like, oh my gosh, like, have you ever been on one of those sales pages where it's just like, you know, you're seeing all the value and you're seeing what's included and all of these things, and you're like, oh my gosh, this has got to be at least like $5,000. And then when you get to the bottom, it's like 500, and you're like, oh my gosh, that's it? Like, this is what we're going for, and this is really important. And that extra value can come in the form of different bonuses. It can come in the form of just showcasing the transformation and the different facets and how much they would normally be paying for something like this. So there's a lot of ways to do this, but this is very, 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 very important that you take the time to really, truly demonstrate how your thing is worth 10 times more than what you are charging. Because, and this is another thing, when it comes to pricing, the higher the price, the higher perceived value. The higher the price, you're just going to naturally attract higher caliber, more committed customers, right? When someone invests more, they're going to be more invested personally because they put more money down. And when you have higher prices, there's no resentment on your part. So if you are really undercharging, which I see a lot and I used to do myself, where you're really barely charging anything, it's kind of easy for some resentment to coming up because you almost feel like you're getting cheated. But it's not, you know, your customer's fault that you priced it so low. So you want to make sure that you know your worth and you're charging what it's worth so that there's no resentment on your part. And remember that no matter what price you choose, whether it's $5, whether it's $500, $5,000, there is always going to be someone who cannot afford it, and there's always going to be someone who can, bottom line. So no matter how low you go, there's still going to be a person who sees that as too expensive, not worth it. And then there's going to be, no matter how high you go, there's always going to be someone who can still afford that and is willing to pay that. So just keep that in mind. And lastly, replace the word price with investment. When you're talking about that, this is good. It's just an important way to frame what it is that you're selling. So in your copy, on your sales page, replace price with an investment and start using words like only and just to help people see what a great value that it is. Just make sure that you're demonstrating how it's worth 10 times more than you're charging. But replace price with investment, use words like only or just $500. Get started today for only $200 or only $50 or $49, whatever price that it is. So that is pricing. Let's talk about magnetic messaging. So just so we're all clear, messaging is simply how you communicate your offer to your audience. It is the words that you use to communicate your offer to your audience. And messaging is very, 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 very important because it can kind of make or break whether you get sales. Because, so if you're in a position right now where maybe you have something and it's not doing great, maybe it's very few sales or no sales, one of the big things to look at is the messaging, because your thing that you're selling might actually be amazing. And maybe you know that it gets people results, or you know that people love it. But if the messaging is off, if you're not clearly communicating the value, then you are going to really struggle to sell it. And so this is one of the first things that you want to look at if you are not having, the sales that you expected. So this is what magnetic messaging is. The whole point of messaging is to create desire and demand for what you sell. And so it should identify a very specific problem where they are right now and a specific transformation where they want to be. Now, some of this is what we talked about yesterday when we talked about coming up with your product idea, and I talked about, we talked about the importance of identifying the transformation, identifying the start point. So if you did that, you've already got a head start on this, because this is going to be ultimately carrying through in your messaging. So your product, whatever you sell, is the vehicle that gets them from point A, where they are right now, to point B, where they want to be. And the vehicle, it's not your course. It's not your, whatever you sell. If you sell a course, it's not your course. It is what you teach, okay? So the vehicle is your teaching process. It's the steps that you teach. It's the framework that you teach. So if I have let's say I had a course on YouTube. I don't actually have a course on YouTube, but let's say that I did. The vehicle would not be my course. The vehicle would be my YouTube framework that I teach. So the name, how you bundle up your process or teaching or whatever you're selling, that's like the packaging. That's like the least important. So the vehicle is what you teach. So here's how magnetic messaging works. You identify the problem. This is where your customer is at right now. You're very specific and clear in painting that picture. And then identifying the transformation. This is where they want. If they had a genie in a bottle and they could have one wish, I don't know why I started singing. I think I started singing that Christina Aguilera, like Genie in a Bottle song, but then I didn't. Anyway, you got to identify the transformation. Paint the clear picture of exactly what it looks like. And if they were like the perfect person to consume your thing, the end result. Now, to take it a step further, you also want to identify the worst case scenario. So they have the problem or the pain point, they're in this start point. Well, what's going to happen if they don't get this taken care of? If they don't do anything about it? What's the worst case scenario? How is this going to start snowballing and creating the ripple effect? This is also something you want to identify. And then the vehicle is positioned right in between the problem and the transformation. And so your messaging should get people on the path to success and transformation. So you really want to be making in your messaging, you want to make the case for why your vehicle is the absolute best way to get them from point A to get them to point B. And you can do this in all sorts of ways. You can use case studies, you can use statistics, you can use, whatever sort of evidence. You're putting together your case for why your process is the best way to get from point A to point B. So for example, going back to the YouTube, the course example, let's say that I had a course on how to use YouTube to grow your business. So my ideal customer might be stuck in the problem. What's the problem? Well, their problem is they are not growing their audience, no one's getting on their email list, and consequently, they're really not getting any sales. The transformation that they're looking for is they want a continually growing automatic process of getting people on their email list and turning them into customers. So the vehicle, my YouTube course, the vehicle is not the course. The vehicle is my YouTube framework, how to use YouTube to grow your list and turn your audience into customers. That's a really kind of bad title, but you get the idea. So I need to make the case for why YouTube and why my YouTube process is the thing that's going to help them, the thing that is going to get them from point A to point B. Magnetic messaging is also very specific. So again, we talked about specificity yesterday and the importance of it when coming up with your product and the importance of niching down. Like, specificity is so important because when you are general, when you are broad, it's not going to resonate. The more specific you are, the more that you're going to hit the nail on the head, the more that you're going to attract the people who really need it. So for example, I see a lot of people using the word stuck and trapped. Feeling stuck, then you need to blah, blah, blah. Or feeling trapped, then you need to blah, blah, blah. But that is way too broad in general. That doesn't really hit home on anything because stuck could mean anything. It could really apply to anything. So for example, a better way to kind of narrow that in is to be more specific in what are they stuck with, right? How are they stuck? So instead of saying I'm stuck, or are you stuck? Maybe you're overwhelmed with what to cook, so you stay stuck in the cycle of eating out. That very clearly paints the picture of how they're stuck, how it's affecting them. So you really want to be careful using words that are broad and general, and you want to ask, how can I get more specific? How can I really paint the picture for this? Because this, again, is going to really hit the nail on the head for people, and they're going to be like, oh my God. So like if I was a person who really, and this is kind of me, so that's probably why I chose it, like I genuinely get overwhelmed with what to cook. And so I tend to buy, I don't eat out a lot, but I tend to buy things that are pretty much grab and go. So in this example, I am my ideal customer, but if I were to read a sales page about, I don't know, maybe it's like a membership and they're offering made meal plans or grocery lists or whatever. If I were reading like the copy and it was like, are you feeling stuck when it comes to food? I would just be like, I don't know. Versus if it said, are you overwhelmed with what to cook so you stay stuck in the cycle of eating out? I would be like, yeah, that's me. Like that would resonate with me way more. So you've got to be really specific. So magnetic messaging clearly communicates the specific problems, the specific pain points. And again, this relates to anything you're selling. Even if you sell, artwork for the wall, you can still paint a picture of how this is causing them pain. They're having to look at their empty wall. It's super uninspiring. They may, all of these things. So no matter what you sell, you've got to be able to paint the problem, the pain points that your product solves along with the specific benefits. And the pain points, and this one is big. Write this down, underline it, circle it, put stars next to it, put arrows pointing to it. The pain points that you want to communicate in your copy, this applies to emails, social media posts, sales pages, wherever you're talking about your offer. You want to focus on the symptoms versus the cause of the problem. The symptoms are the surface level experience that someone has. So a lot of times when you are a coach or you're, the quote unquote expert in whatever it is that you do, you are very aware of the reason behind your audience's, quote unquote problems. You know the root issue. But your audience, your ideal customer, they might not be aware of that at all. They just know that they're experiencing some painful problems. So for like a really simplistic example, take, Advil, for example. Advil is for like headaches. Well, what does someone, a person who has a headache, they just want their symptom, the headache, taken care of. Well, what could be the cause of the headache? It's probably dehydration. So, but what does the commercial speak to? They speak to the pain, they speak to the symptom, the headache. Here's what to take for your headache. They don't say, oh, are you dehydrated? Here's an Advil. They're speaking to the symptom. Or another example would be, let's say that you teach, a lot of inner work. Maybe you focus on healing people's past traumas. And you know that in your ideal audience, this past particular trauma that your ideal customer has is causing them to sabotage their romantic relationships. Their past trauma is causing them to get in these cycles of maybe attracting the wrong person, attracting toxic relationships, maybe getting into abusive relationships, and kind of getting in this vicious repeating cycle, right? Well, you as the quote unquote expert, you know the cause of this. It's because they have this past trauma. but you're the person you're speaking to, they might not be aware of that at all. All they know is they're experiencing these painful symptoms, attracting the wrong person, experiencing, abuse in their relationships, all the things that come with vicious, toxic relationships. Those are the symptoms they're experiencing. You want to market, you want to communicate the symptoms, what your customer is experiencing, what is on the surface, what you could film in a video, if I had a video camera. Then when you get them into whatever it is your thing, if you get them into your program, get them into your course, then you can go into the cause. You as the expert know that this is what they need to deal with, but right now, in order to get them in, you need to clearly show that you understand by speaking to what they are the most focused on, which are their symptoms. Focus on the symptoms, then when they buy your thing, that's when you can really deal with the cause of the problem. I hope this makes sense. Let me know in the comments if this makes sense, if this is all making sense. And by the way, I'm not looking at the comments because I have this on full screen, plus I get sidetracked easily. So I will stick around at the end if anyone has questions on this. So if you do have questions about this, we are almost done, so you can ask them then, and I'm happy to answer. And then I'm also happy to answer them anytime. This Facebook group is going to be open until the end of next week, so you can always just post in the group, and I'm happy to answer questions. But let me know if this is making sense for y'all. So that's when it comes to problems. You want to focus on the symptoms. But when it comes to the benefits, again, specificity. So if your ideal customer had a genie in a lamp, what would be the specific wish? So remember, if you're like Aladdin and you got the genie in the lamp, you got to be really careful what you wish for, because you're going to get exactly what you wish for. So, instead of saying, I wish for, more money, well, more money could technically be a penny. So you would want to say I wish for $5 million or whatever. That's really specific. And so you really want to be specific in painting the results or the benefits that your offer is going to get someone. And the secret to great messaging is listening. The better of a listener that you can become, the better of a marketer you're going to become, the easier it's going to be for you to effortlessly attract your dream customers. So you want to find where your ideal customer hangs out, and you want to do what I call copy stalking them. You want to literally use their words. I have a document I use Trello for project management. I literally have a copy stalking document where when I see someone talking about the things that I help people with, I literally copy and paste. When they're talking about what they're experiencing or what they're wishing for or what they're trying to figure out, I copy it all, so that when I'm describing the pain points, when I'm describing the benefits, I'm using their language. And you can also do this other ways. You can do surveys. You can simply ask people questions. Literally, you could ask your ideal customer. You could do this in a survey. You could get on someone with Zoom and just talk human to human. But when it comes to this thing that you're having right here, this issue, this problem, what would be your best case scenario? If you had one wish, what would you wish for? What would be the end result? And see what they say and literally use their words. So messaging isn't hard. You just have to listen. Your audience is giving it to you if you look for it, if you're willing to talk to people, to ask people, to copy stock people. So I highly recommend keeping a document somewhere on your computer where you can start keeping track of these things. But when I create a sales page or an email, I'm literally pulling from that document the exact words that people use. And I do all different things. I send surveys regularly. I look anytime I see it on social media, someone talking about it or describing their problem or describing what they want. I talk to people on Zoom, face-to-face. So all of the ways. I highly recommend you doing this in all of the ways. But when people are not listening, if you feel like you are speaking and you're staying up and you're like, hey, here's my offer, and it's crickets, then it is likely that you are not pointing out the specific problems, the symptoms, along with the specific benefits. Because people, ultimately, we are all wired for survival, right? Our brains are wired for survival, especially like a bajillion years ago when we had to really were like, you know, had to survive and we had to like be on the lookout for like saber-toothed tigers, all of these things. We're wired to survive. We're still wired to survive. That's how our brains work. And so if you're not pointing out these things, these possible threats, these possible danger, the benefits, you know, getting really specific with your language, then people are just not going to pay attention. And people do not pay attention to general and broad language. It just hits completely flat. And little side note, if you did not grab Your First 100 Leads training, this is a free 14 video mini course that my business mentor, James Wedmore, is offering right now. He only lets people have it for free once a year. If you did not grab that, by the way, the link for that is in the caption above this video. But this training is going to go deeper into messaging. Like, he is a marketing wizard. I like I said, I spent the most money I've ever spent in my life to invest in him as my coach, like my personal business coach a few years ago. Why? Because he's a freaking genius. So this course is absolutely incredible. It's going to take you deeper into messaging, and it also walks you through how to create one incredible lead magnet / freebie, whatever you want to call it, to grow your audience. But it's so much more than that. He walks you through how to create something that your audience actually wants, because a lot of times when people make freebies, they create what they think their audience wants or what they think is going to be awesome, and then it falls flat because it's not what they actually want. And you also get walked through like how to actually do it and how to position and message it to share why people need it, why it's different from everything else. He talks about how to get people to it without using expensive ads. Like, it's a freaking phenomenal training. So if you did not grab that and you want to go even deeper with messaging, which is what we're talking about right now, be sure to grab that. So here are your action steps for today. Turn selling into serving and create magnetic messaging. Use the 4 steps that we went through earlier to get clear on the price of your product. So if you already have a product, I encourage you to look at the price and really be honest with yourself if you're undercharging perhaps, but go through this exercise anyway, because that's really gonna begin to shed some light on if it is underpriced. And then begin to brainstorm. Once you pick a price, brainstorm how can you show that it is worth 10 times the value of what you are charging. So again, depending on what you're offering, this could be little extras, it could be little bonuses. It's really showing like, hey, here's how much you would pay if you had someone else do it. But you got to be able to show that it's worth 10 times. And then action step number 2 is to get clear for your messaging on the specific problem, the start point, and the specific transformation, the end point. And if you did yesterday's action step, you'll already have a head start on this. And then I would encourage you to go even further by identifying the worst case scenario. What does it look like if the person you are serving does not get this thing handled? If they just don't, buy your thing, they don't, whatever, what's that gonna look like 2 weeks from now, 2 months from now, a year from now? How is that going to create the ripple effect in a not so great way? And then finally, step number 3, write down why your offer is the best way to get from point A, where they are, to point B. Remembering that it's not your course or membership or the actual product. That's just the packaging. That's the least important. The vehicle is your process, what you are teaching or what you are helping someone with, the way in which you are helping something, your framework, etc. Hopefully that makes sense. And then tomorrow, we're going to be talking more about systems, processes, the pieces of your business. And heads up, I'm going to invite you to a free training that is being put on by my business mentor, who I've mentioned a million times already, James Wedmore. He is doing a free training that starts on Thursday, this Thursday. It is absolutely phenomenal. He only does it once a year. He literally spends the whole year preparing for this. So it only happens once a year. And y'all, I'm not even joking. This free training completely changed my business 4 years ago. And it literally, not to be dramatic, but it also changed my life. It was the catalyst for so much personal growth and so much growth in my business. So I'm going to invite you to that tomorrow. Again, it's free. It's going to start on Thursday, and it is freaking phenomenal. Let me just say that 4 years ago, before I attended this training, even though my business was profitable, my online business, which it took me years to get it profitable because I was struggling in all the other areas. But when I did get my business profitable 4 years ago, I was bringing in money, but I was also working 12+ hour days the majority of the time. I was doing all the things. I was overwhelmed. I was stressed out, and I was constantly having to like cancel plans with friends and family, and it was not fun. Like I was always freaking working. And so this training that he's going to be doing on Thursday was a thing that really gave me the clarity on what I needed to be doing, the steps and the perspective that allowed me to go from 12+hour days to 3 to 4 hour days. And at the same time, I more than tripled my annual revenue. So it was literally life-changing for me. So mark your calendar for that. It's going to be Thursday, and I'll have like the links to sign up for that in this Facebook group as well. So highly, highly recommend it. It's absolutely phenomenal. All right. Well, that is all for today. We pretty much went like we did yesterday. I said yesterday, I was like, these are only going to be 30 minutes, and whoops, they're like an hour. Oops. But tomorrow, I swear, it'll probably be more like 30 minutes. Watch it be an hour. But I really am trying to make these short, but also, actionable and helpful. So I am going to stop screen sharing. If you have any questions about what we covered, feel free to ask those now, because now I'll actually be able to see them. And woo-hoo-hoo! I'm back. So hopefully that was helpful for you all. Caitlin, can't wait to sign up for that. Yay, it's going to be so good, so good. By the way, if you grab the dashboard, the Digital CEO dashboard, which is also linked above this video, on the confirmation page for that, when you grab the dashboard, there's going to be a link to sign up for his free training. So you might have already signed up, or if you're really excited and you want to make sure that you don't miss it, then grab the dashboard, which is a free download. It's above this video. And then on the confirmation page for that, you'll get the option to sign up for his free training series. But the dashboard is so good because it's basically a one-page sheet mapping out all of the key pieces and metrics of your business and how everything fits together, and he'll walk you through how to like fill it all out. But it's a literal one sheet that you can print off or you can do digitally. But basically it provides you with a complete big picture of your business so that you can see what you're missing, so that you can see what is not working and that you need to fix. Because a lot of times we tend to make blind changes, or we just kind of feel like we need to do all the things, or maybe we're not sure on like the next best, like what do I need to do? Like maybe things aren't really going great in my business right now and I don't know exactly what I need to do. This Digital CEO dashboard is going to give you clarity on exactly what you need to do, depending on where you are in your business. So if you don't have a business yet and you're in the beginning stages, you're still going to want to grab this because it's going to shine light ultimately on all the pieces that you do want and need to have. And so you'll know your next steps depending on where you are on this sheet. And if you don't know like your business metrics, y'all, it is going to be a game changer for you. Even if you're not a numbers person. I've talked about this before. Business is a numbers game. I mentioned that yesterday. You have to know your numbers as a business owner, because remember when we were talking about like the data versus drama mindset, when we're talking about mindset, like business is just a numbers game, and you can always improve when you know the key metrics that are important for your business, because there's different ones that are like, it's like you have the structure of your business and how it runs. There's a different metric in every single area. When you know those, you can improve those. It's like a bucket, right? Think of your business like a bucket, and most people's business buckets have holes in the bottom. And if you're not aware of those holes, well, you can pour all the water in that bucket, but if you don't plug up the holes, then it's going to keep leaking. So this Digital CEO spreadsheet is like a bucket, and it's going to shine the light on those holes that you need to plug up, so you know the next steps for where you are right now to start getting business results. So definitely sign up for that. Already signed up for the training. It's very good. However, I found the dashboard very confusing to use. So if you're confused by how to use the dashboard, just know that in his free training, he's going to be walking you through how to fill it out. So if you're confused right now by looking at it, just know that when you attend his free training, you're going to be getting the clarity you need to completely fill out the dashboard. And his free training is, I believe, 3 days. This is actually the first time where he's ever done it live. Usually he has like an amazing video series, which is what I did. He's doing it differently this year, but I've heard it's going to be the best that they've ever done it. But basically it's a 3-day live training. Over those 3 days, you're going to be filling out your digital CEO dashboard. So don't worry if you're confused about that right now. You're going to be filling it out during the training. But y'all, like, James is someone who massively over delivers, like massively over delivers. So I can almost guarantee you that in addition to the 3 days of free training, he's also probably going to give you incredible bonus trainings as well, like bonus live trainings. He did last year. He did like a whole extra like 2-hour thing on like creating money on demand was the name of the training, which sounds kind of douchey, but that's really what it was about, is about really going deep into creating an absolutely irresistible offer for your audience, which we touched about yesterday. But he's going to go so much deeper with that. So I'm really excited for that. I always attend every year, even though like it's just kind of like a refresher. It's so good that I still go every single year. I like to create like a little watch party. Yay, I'm so glad. Okay, I hope that helps. Cool. Okay, did anyone have any comments? I don't know why Facebook does not let me view all the comments. It's kind of annoying. Like when I click on comments, it just shows me the top 4. So if you're watching right now and you have a question, pop it in right now. Otherwise, I'm going to assume that there are no questions. Just remember, tomorrow I will be back here at noon. We will be talking about processes and pieces of your business, fitting it all together. And that's about it. If you have more questions as you're going through your action steps, post them in the group. I also highly recommend, I said this yesterday, but I'll say it again, post in the group for feedback. So when you're coming up with your bio statement or you're coming up with your transformation, the start point and the end result, or just anything, the steps that we've been going through, I highly recommend you use this time to get feedback, especially because this group is temporary. So I don't have a normal Facebook group that I respond in. The only way you can get my direct feedback normally is in my membership. So this is like your one chance to be able to, not just get direct access to me, but to others in the group as well who are doing this as well. So this is a fabulous time to get some feedback on the things that you are working on. I have an email list with around 2,000 people. That's amazing that I have been building over a free email course. What would be the best way to filter this list to find the people that would be willing to pay for a paid version of the course? Did you grab the first 100 leads training? Is my answer. Is it Malu? Is it Malu? Malu? I'm so sorry if I'm butchering your name. It's so beautiful, but I'm probably butchering it. But did you grab the first 100 leads training? Because that is your question is exactly what that training covers, step by step by step. It's about creating a free offer that not is just something that's going to grow your list, but how to use it as a way to transition directly to your paid offer. So ultimately, your paid offer needs to, or your freebie, your mini course, or whatever it is. It could be a download. It could be anything. It needs to create demand for whatever it is that you sell. So it needs to provide value, but like the next logical step needs to be your paid thing. If that makes sense. So, I mean, it just depends. There's several ways that you could do it, right? Like, your freebie could be the what and the why, and then your mini course is like the what and the why, and then your paid thing is the how. It's the step-by-step, in-depth how. So that's like one example. But ultimately, it's got to create a desire and an actual need to be like, okay, like now I get it and now I'm ready for this thing. Your free thing can also be sort of like a prerequisite. If you have a paid program, for example, Well, what's something that your person needs to know before coming into your program? What do they need to be aware of? If there's something that you teach in your program and your audience doesn't really see the importance of why you're teaching that, well, how can you show them in your freebie that, hey, this thing that I teach is really freaking important, and here's how it's going to help you, and kind of educating them on what you do and then leading them into the paid offer. So there's a lot of ways, but I highly recommend you going through the 100 Leads mini course, because that's exactly what it's about, and you will probably you'll be able to tweak your freebie accordingly and all of that. So it's gonna go so in depth with all of that. You're in the 4th video of the training. Oh, good. Good. Are you finding it helpful? Because I would say go through the training. I'm pretty sure your question is going to be answered by the end. So you still have 10 more videos. So you will know by the end how to transition from your freebie to your paid offer, because ultimately, yeah, like you want to be growing your list. The freebie should be sort of like the freebie should be the filter of filtering out people who are interested in your thing, right? That's why not just creating any free, like you don't want to just create any freebie. Your freebie should be the like stepping stone to your paid thing. So anyone who grabs your free thing should automatically be qualified to want your paid thing. So the freebie is the filter. And that's like another thing is like, when I first started, like a million years ago at this point, I mentioned this yesterday, I had like a million freebies. Like, as I said yesterday, you really only need one freebie in your business, one amazing freebie, which is what that mini course is all about. Now, if you have multiple, like let's say you have 2 different paid offers and they are completely different, like 2 totally different paid offers, then you might need 2 different freebies, one freebie to lead to each thing. But in general, you only need one. But I had like a million freebies when I first started, which just created so much extra work for me, so much extra time and energy, but I had no strategy behind them. I had no way of leading people from those freebies to my paid things. So while my list was growing, they weren't buying my things because they were just getting on for the freebie. They just wanted that free checklist, or they just wanted that free template, or whatever it was, but then I wasn't leading them to my paid stuff. And so that's what this is all about now. Like the freebie that I have now leads people to a free masterclass that I have, which then leads to my membership or my free workshop. Or there's multiple paths that they can go down in the funnel, but like when they grab the freebie, then it leads to the paid workshop. So now my freebie has a purpose and the freebie makes them want the workshop. Hopefully that makes sense. Discovered that the freebie of mine is very good already. Yay. Just need to channel it better now. Good, good, good. Yay. I'm so glad. Awesome. That's amazing. Yeah. So finish those trainings, 10 more videos, and definitely attend the 3-day training that he's going to do, because it is so good, and you're probably going to get more bonus, trainings in addition to that. So definitely super excited for that. Cool. All right. Well, I'm going to assume no one has any more questions because I can't see the comments, but I don't see any new ones. So that is all for today, my friends. Go take action on those work steps, action steps. Be back here tomorrow at noon and pop into the group. Get feedback, ask questions. I am here to help, okay? Thank you so much for being here. I'm having so much fun during these. I hope you're finding these helpful. And I will see you tomorrow or today, because I'll probably be back in the group. Okay, all right. Bye.